I should have watched the video first. Why am I even writing this? Because it calms me down. That's why I'm writing. It calms me down. I think better when I write. I can figure this out if I settle down. Recap. Sarah went into the dretch. Ranger Boner was there. Sarah thinks he was waiting for her, but she could just be overreacting. She borrowed his phone. She dialed the last number in his incoming calls list. It was my house, and it was after my dad had already gone over to talk to Boner, supposedly, and when I called back. He must have had the Ranger's silence in case it went off while he was talking. Sarah through the woods. For once, I'm glad there are cell towers scattered out there. At least she could get a signal and call me even if she couldn't say anything. Sarah thinks Dad tipped Boner off, but how could he know she'd be there? And was he in my room last night? Has he read this? He could have snuck in here just like that crazy nut job and Telltale Heart. I woke up, it felt like someone was in the room, but there was no one. Or at least no one answered in the dark. If my dad knows, then why isn't he confronting me? Why isn't the house up for sale? Why isn't Mom freaking out? She's not, so that means he hasn't told her. How many questions is that? 50? I can't answer any of them for sure. I need more information. I need to narrow this down. What's the most important question right now? Dad, what's going on with Dad? 20 minutes top, maybe 15. I can't risk sneaking around beyond that. They'll stop fishing when Henry gets hungry. Henry likes to eat. He'll want to knock off early. I bet they'll be here by 2:30, maybe even earlier. I'm just going to take my journal with me. That's what I'm going to do. I'll keep writing. I'll hobble to my parents' room right down the hall. I can make that work. I'll go in there. I know where my dad's dresser is. I know he keeps his personal stuff in the top drawer because Mom told me when I was little. She caught me in there and slapped my hand really hard and said I should never search through other people's things without asking. She said it was the same as stealing, which I never really understood. I'm in the door. My watch says 2:03, but I'm leaving the door open so I can hear if they come in. Henry will be loud. He'll be talking. I'll be able to get out. My parents' closet smells like my mom, not like my dad. I'm having some trouble breathing. I just can't seem to calm down. I remember when she slapped my hand and how it stung. The blood is rushing through my leg and I can feel every part that's broken. It feels like my mom took a broomstick and started beating me with it. Whack, whack, whack. I've got this journal open on top of the dresser. The light bulb doesn't make it very bright in here. It's sort of a yellow light. Oh man, I can't breathe very well. Do I have asthma? I might have asthma. The more I think about it, I've kicked up some dust in here. My leg is killing me. It doesn't like being stood up for too long all at once. I know it's crazy for me to be writing as I do this, but I have to. I might not get another chance to do this, and I can't rely on memory. I have to get everything down. The drawer is open. There's a lot of stuff in here. My grandfather's belt buckle, he's dead now. It's got rhinestones in it. A stack of documents, legal stuff I think. A cigar box with a little latch on it, some rings and pens and old watches. I've opened the cigar box. And it's got a row of 10 or 12 matching cufflinks pushed into a sheet of cardboard. My dad never wears cufflinks. There's a champagne button and a stack of expired credit cards and license. There's nothing ominous here. There's no sign of a secret society. 212. I have to get out of here. Why cufflinks? I bet they're from their wedding day. Maybe that's all. the cufflinks from all the men in the wedding party. They all look alike, and if they were worn once and never again. 213. I've tried to pick up one of the cufflinks and the whole piece of the cardboard lifted up out of the cigar box. When I flipped it over, I found a piece of paper taped to the back. I unfolded it and found something there. I can't breathe. I really have to get out of here. 215. They're going to be back any second now. I can feel it. I've shuffled back down the hall to my room and dragged my leg behind me. My computer is scanning the piece of paper while I write. Come on, finish. 218. The scan is done. Time to return the original. 220. They're home. Henry just yelled up the stairs. I'm making lunch, champ. Hope you're ready for a surprise. I'm standing in front of my dad's dresser with a little yellow light on, and I can't move. He'll come up here any second. I know he will. Then what will he do? I should run. I should get out of here. I've closed the drawer, but I can't move. What am I going to do? He's coming. I've calmed down now. I'm not shaking so much anymore. I can breathe again. My dad went straight to the hallway bathroom on his way to my room. I heard him yell, just going to use the head and I'll stop in to see you. Fishing was good, better than last year. I made it out of his room and into the hallway outside the bathroom door. I tucked this journal in the top of my cast and sucked in my breath. The door opened with a whoosh of air. Look at you, up and walking around. You must really want to play some cards. He looked happy to see me. I felt guilty about that. What was I going to do? Count me in, I told him. I'm tired of lying down. Looks like you just ran a marathon. How about lunch in bed? And we'll help you to the porch. Deal? Deal. And so Dad delivered me back to my room, and then Henry brought me a grilled cheese and bacon sandwich with tomato soup. It would be easy to hide all sorts of gross things in the creamy red soup or melted orange cheese. But it was late, and I was starving. He wouldn't dare trick a kid in a cast. Would he? Dad and Henry will be up to get me any minute. I printed out the scan of what I found. I'm sticking it on this page. It scares me. There's no two ways about it. Navigating stairs is complicated, and with a full-leg cask and crutches, our stairwell is narrow, and there's our family pictures hanging like clumps of grapes all the way down both sides. I think I would have been fine if I hadn't insisted I could do it alone. Henry and Dad are watching from the bottom of the stairs when I pitched forward somewhere near the middle and lost my balance. Dad met me with outstretched arms, and my face smashed into his gray t-shirt. He smelled like a fisherman. My hands fanned over about a dozen family pictures and frames on the way down, but by some miracle of gravity, none of them fell to their desks. They wobbled back and forth and knocked into one another, but they held. It looked like a big gust of wind had rushed through. In my defense, the cast really is heavy, and let's see, what's the word I'm searching for? Unbending? A cast like Big Bertha makes a person want to bend like never before. I'm dying to bend my leg. It's like a Freudian itch I can't scratch. Which reminds me, this thing itches like mad. So add that to my list of complaints. When I finally made it to the front porch, and the floorboards creaked under the weight of my cask, I settled down on a gold-threaded couch with my leg propped up on a wooden stool and breathed in a crisp fall air. Our porch is a lot like an outdoor living room. When a piece of furniture is replaced inside the house, the old item finds a home on the porch. After a while, a year, maybe two, the same items move to 10 more feet becomes the items in one of Mom's many yard sales. It's a natural progression, a slow but steady march off the property. I searched the skies for flying Dr. Pepper cans or other signs of Sarah, but there are nothing. Henry asked if I wanted to play three-handed cribbage. Not a great game, if you ask me. I'm not sure who came up with it, but probably it was 3 people sitting in a room, 1 cribbage board, and a person sitting out wanted to join in. I played anyways. It was nice to think about something other than the haunted dredge and the secret society. How much longer? Henry asked after a little while. He was holding his cards with one hand and tugging slowly on one rainbow suspender with the other. Before what? Before you can walk around with something on your leg. How long, Dad? 7 weeks. Henry couldn't believe it. 7 weeks! You'll have to ship the cast to me. I'll leave it in a box. You're nuts, I told him. I bet it itches like the Thrimes. It does. You could jam a coat hanger down there. Henry is a great card player, but has this maddening way of distracting everyone with all sorts of mindless small talk. He never admits it, but I'm sure this is part of his strategy. It's hard to concentrate when someone's talking about having an empty cast shipped to New York. I started thinking about what the box would look like. I wonder if what his 12 girlfriends would say when they saw a cast propped up against the wall in his apartment. I started feeling almost positive there were bugs crawling around inside my cast. I begged my dad to get me a coat hanger, and all the while I made a stupid play all over the cribbage board. Eventually I got my coat hanger straightened out and jammed it all the way down to my kneecap. It was an improvement. We basically sat there playing cards for about an hour, talking about nothing in particular. Mostly Henry was trying to throw us off. I was doing a hit-or-miss job. Eventually Mom came home, and after calling hellos, we heard her pounding away on the pipes in the kitchen. You should go help her, Henry says. Henry has a lot of sympathy for my mom. He knows my dad isn't good about talking on home projects. And my dad is plenty capable, but he lacks motivation for certain kinds of tasks. You go help her, Dad says. What's she doing in there? Henry asked. Trying to unclog the garbage disposal, my dad said. She's under the sink hitting the pipes with a rolling pin. I believe it or not, it usually works. Sounds a little like the old dredge when it's really cranking. My mom started yelling at the sink, which prompted my dad to set his cards down, sigh deeply, and walk indifferently to her rescue. There was something about the noise, the sound of the banging on metal, that made me think again of the night I'd fallen and smashed my leg. There had been a clanging sound, barely audible, as if someone was hitting metal on metal. I decided to ask Henry about his comment. What sound do you mean? Henry leaned back in his chair until it was only on 2 legs. The dredge was incredibly loud. Tons of rocks were scooped up from the ground and dumped inside. The conveyor belt was rimmed with thick planks of wood and kept everything from falling out. It was like a long water slide. Seen one of those? But instead of water shooting through, it was boulders. It echoed like mad, which seemed to quadruple the rambling. Such a horrible sound. A crew of 4 was required to run the dredge, and they were separated by quite a distance. One stationed at the gear in front of where they watched everything come in. That person greased the machines and pulled the stop chain if things got jammed up. Another was at the far end watching the tailings dump out. There was a man at the control booth, one more we called a roamer, the guy who fixed things on the fly from a running list of problems. But the sound, the banging, what sound was that? The workers couldn't hear one another. They couldn't yell that loud, so they used signals. They banged metal wrenches and hammers against the iron critters of the dredge to tell each other things. It was like Morse code, simple but effective in those days. When my dad returned, the conversation veered quickly away from the dredge. I didn't want him to hear us talking about it. Maybe Henry didn't either. Instead, we all played cards and talked about the Yankee and the Mariners. After a while, Mom brought the casserole with a crispy cheese top, and the last of the late summer bees started swarming around the porch. I spent a lot of time away from my bedroom today, which makes me feel anxious. I feel like the FBI had scored my mattress and squeaky box spring, taken pictures, dusted for fingerprints, all the while with 2-way radios wired to the kitchen so my mom could tell them if I was on my way. and they could jump out the second-story window. I know it sounds stupid, but that's how it feels all the same. The room appeared untouched. Before I left, I took Sarah's advice and found a better hiding place for my journal. I slid it inside my 9th grade annual from last year and put the annual between a whole bunch of other books. I taped it shut. It doesn't look like they found it. The seal hasn't been broken. They'll leave me alone for a while. Henry's got all their attention. So it's a good time to email Sarah and tell her about what I found in my dad's dresser. Too late, she already emailed me. It was a short, bad email, the worst kind. I'm going back tonight. I have to. Don't worry. I'm fine. I'll contact you tomorrow. Delete this. Sarah. So I emailed her back. Sarah, you have lost your mind. Don't get anywhere near the dredge right now. People are probably watching. And besides that, I'm digging up all sorts of reasons to stay clear of that thing. As if a phantom isn't a reason enough. I found something in my dad's room. You're amazed I went in there, right? Me too. Trust me, it was insane. I attached a scan of what I found. It feels like a dangerous information I have. It will ring a bell from the ads we found in the old newspaper about the crossbones. I think they're still meeting. I think my dad is one of them. I think I mentioned that I'm shaking right now. I'm telling you, Sarah, stay away from the dredge. Don't go back tonight. We're getting too close. I found out something else about the sound I heard that night. I have to get offline. I'll send it later. I'm still figuring it out. Stay put, Ryan. Is it normal to get in the habit of erasing everything? I get this distinct feeling I'll be doing it for the rest of my life. I'll grow up and to be a conspiracy theorist. The government will be out to get me. They'll erase my identity and move to South America fishing village, but they'll track me down and drag me back to my parents. Will put me in a group home. I hate technology. It's a good thing I'm writing everything on a good old-fashioned paper. Someone is going to find this after I'm gone. When you get to the part that I've disappeared, go back and watch the video of when I fell. The one with the tavern, the raven for the password. Listen to those distinct sounds of metal on metal. I did. I listened to the sound over and over again, and now I'll never forget them even if I try. Go on, go back and listen. I'm feeling less gloomy and more edgy than in the last half hour. Surfing online always has the effect on me. I tend to fry my nerves. I found an image of all the Morse code letters and I read it out about how the taps and the gaps in the sound are supposed to work. I figured out that what I heard in the dredge was like Morse code, but not entirely the same. The longer sound, the one that made the dash, the one that doesn't match up, that's been replaced instead by a different tone. There are two tones on the dredge that represent the dot and the dashes. I imagine the dots being the hammer hitting iron and the dashes being the wrench hitting the same spot. The two sounds are different in tone instead of length. So this works. This is the message that played on the dredge the night it fell. Dot dash, dot dash, dot dot, dash dot, dash dash, dash dash dash, dot dot dash, dash, dot 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 dot, dot, dot dash, dot dash, dot dot, dash dot dash dot, dot 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 dot, dot, dash dash, dot dot, dot 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 dash. The dots are the hammer and the bar are the wrench. The message asks a question. Are you the alchemist? Eerie, right? I'll admit, I'm freaking out. Because when I was measuring it all out, I didn't think it would add up to anything. I thought it would be nonsense. But no, it's a question. Whatever asked the question was expecting an answer it didn't get. Sarah wouldn't know the answer tonight any better than she did the night of the accident. Maybe the ghost of Old Joe Bush has a message for someone, the alchemist. It would be useful if I knew what the alchemist was. And there's a piece of paper I found. The alchemist diagram of 79 for Paul Macri. Paul Macri. That's my dad. So there's no doubt anymore. My dad is somehow entangled in this mess. And so is the crossbones. Why am my dad making the sounds? So maybe the ghost of Old Joe Bush is trying to make contact, trying to find someone or something. Are you the alchemist? What about Daryl Boner? He looks like Old Joe Bush. He could be the alchemist. What would happen if I knew the answer and I gave it to Old Joe Bush in the dredge? What would he tell me? What would he do to me? Whatever it was that made the sound that night saw Sarah and me as intruders in a secret domain. We didn't understand the question, so we didn't reply, and because of that, it got angry and it came for me. I need to make sure Sarah doesn't go back there again. She can't go back. Not ever. My parents have turned in and Henry is in the guest room downstairs. It's been a long day of fishing, cards, and comfort food. They'll all be tired and I can't just sit here. Sarah could already be in the dredge and about to leave. I have to get out of here. The walk to her house isn't that far, half a mile. I could do it with my crutches, maybe. I could tap on her window like the raven, and she'd be safe because she won't go. She's not the alchemist. She can't go in there if she's not the alchemist, or she might never come out. I could wake her up tomorrow morning and she'd be gone. No one would know where she went. I made to the bottom of the stairs this time. It was dark, so it was slow going, but I made it without knocking anything over. I bumped the coffee table with my clasp and it made a sound, but no one stirred. I opened the front door out to the porch as quietly as I could. The screen door rammed close in front of me, and I knew it was more complicated matter. It's old and squeaky, another of those home projects my dad never got around to fixing. So I went about opening the screen door very slowly until there was a gap big enough for me and my lumbering clasp to fit through. It's getting really cold in the base of the mountain that night in the fall. We're at 5,200 feet, and I was thinking about how cold it must be. Was it 30 or 35 degrees outside? Something like that. 70 during the day and bitter cold at night. That's fall in Skeleton Creek. When I passed through the gap, my cast touched the floorboards and they creaked. That's when I heard a voice. Hey partner, must be hot upstairs. Your mom's got the heat blasting in there. It was Henry with a bottle in one hand lying on the old couch covered in an even older blanket. There's no air like this in New York, not even one breathful. I never thought of it that way. Well, it's true. When I retire, I'm going to permanently plant my butt on this couch. Better talk to my mom. She might sell it. She wouldn't, would she? We all talked a little bit more, and then I said I was going back to bed. Let me help you up those stairs. It's okay, really. I want to do it alone. If you hear a crash, come running. Otherwise, I'll be fine. Suit yourself. I went back inside, past the living room and the dining room, and into the kitchen. At the back of the house, we have a yellow phone in there, and it hangs on the wall. I dialed Sarah's number. I know it's stupid, but I was out of options. It was a terrible risk, but it was truly felt she was in trouble. If keeping her safe meant giving her up, then I was ready to pay that price. It rang for 4 times and I almost hung up. Sarah's mom answered. She sounded a little woke herself. Hello? It felt like a mistake, but I had to keep going. Hi, Miss Winter. It's me, Ryan. Are you okay? What's wrong? I woke up worried about Sarah. I don't know why. Could you do me a favor and make sure she's okay? Hang on. There was a long pause in which I thought I would crawl out of my skin. My parents could come down any second. Sarah could be gone. Henry could walk in. After about 10 years, Sarah's mom came back on the line. She's asleep. Oh, that's great. Okay, I'm fine now. Sorry to bother you. Really sorry. Ryan, you can't be calling here. You know that. Please don't tell my parents. I was just worried. I haven't talked to her in a while. How are you holding up? Great. I'm just great, Miss Fincher. My leg feels much better. Thanks for asking. Good night, Ryan. Night. I don't think she's going to tell them. Or maybe that's just my hope talking. I went back to my room and quietly as I could, and which took a long time. When I got back in bed, I felt a wave of relief. Now I'm reading this over, I'm not sure. I think I did the right thing. All the other terrible troubles in my life don't matter as long as I know Sarah's safe. The truth about Skeleton Creek is not worth dying for. I don't remember falling asleep. I woke to find the journal sitting on the foot of my bed with the pen tucked inside. Did I do that? I don't think I did. Someone came in here and read it. There's no other explanation. I know this because I don't put the pen in like that. Because I would never set it on the edge of my bed. With my dad or my mom, either way, I'm doomed. It's so much harder to be careful when I'm too tired to keep my eyes open. I checked my email and Sarah sent me another video.